Hello, everybody. Welcome to session 1 of chapter Endocrine Glands. We'll be discussing about various endocrine glands present in our body, their secretion, functions, and effects. First of all, let us discuss what is endocrine glands. Actually, in our body, there are two types of glands. You all know. One is exocrine gland, and another is endocrine gland. Exocrine gland, they make secretion through the duct. They have duct, so they make secretion through the duct. But right now we are going to discuss about endocrine glands, and these glands do not have any ducts. You can see in this figure there are many endocrine glands in our body, and these glands have no duct. And because of no duct, whatever the secretions they are supposed to make, they directly pour into blood, and the blood will carry the secretion from one part of body to another part of body. Such glands are called endocrine glands. So let's check definition. The glands whose secretion are made directly into blood are known as endocrine glands. So why these glands make secretion directly into blood? Because these glands have no ducts. So due to lack of ducts, they directly make secretion into blood, and such glands are called endocrine glands. And because of no ducts, these glands are also known as ductless glands. And whatever the secretions these glands make, these secretions are called hormone. And we have following endocrine glands in our body. The first is pituitary gland, which lies in brain, under the brain. Thyroid gland in the neck region. Parathyroid gland, it lies over the thyroid gland. Pancreas, it lies just below the stomach. Adrenal gland, it lies above the kidney. Thymus, it lies in thoracic region. Pineal gland, it lies under the brain. And finally, we have gonads. In male, gonad is represented by testes, and in female, it is represented by ovaries. So now we'll be discussing each and every gland one by one. So first let's discuss about pituitary gland. So pituitary gland, you can see here, it is very small size structure, and it is found below this part of brain is called diencephalon. So it is just found below the diencephalon, and it is found inside the bone, and the bone, so that is why location is, it is found at the base of diencephalon. Means this is the part of brain called diencephalon. It is just found below the diencephalon, and it is enclosed within the bone cavity, and the name of bone is sphenoid bone, and it is connected with the part of diencephalon called hypothalamus. And if you go structure wise, it is small, and it is size of pea and roughly oval in shape. So it has three parts: anterior lobe, posterior lobe, and in middle, anterior lobe, this is anterior lobe, and this is posterior lobe, and middle you can find one thin area called intermediate lobe. Anterior lobe forms adenophysis, whereas posterior lobe forms neurophysis, and this gland is also called master gland because it produces number of hormones, and it controls, with that hormones it controls the secretion of many other endocrine glands of body. It means it controls the rest of the endocrine glands present in our body through the hormones. So since it controls the rest of the endocrine glands, It is also called master gland. Now let us discuss about the hormone secreted by adenophysis. Adenophysis means anterior lobe of the pituitary gland. So it produces 6 different hormones. So let's check the list of it. The first is thyroid stimulating hormone, or it is also called thyrotropin. Second is adrenocorticotropic hormone. Third is gonadotropic hormone. Fourth is lactogenic hormone, or it is also called prolactin. Growth hormone or somatotropin hormone. And the last is melanocyte stimulating hormone. Actually, this hormone is produced by neurophysis. So that's why we can say that adenophysis can produce the first 5 hormones, and neurophysis, the posterior lobe produces the melanocyte stimulating hormone. So one by one, let's discuss about each hormone. So first hormone we'll be discussing is thyroid stimulating hormone or growth hormone. So it stimulates thyroid gland to secrete its hormone. So we have separate gland called thyroid gland, and this hormone, unless it reaches to that thyroid gland, this thyroid gland cannot produce any hormone. That means pituitary gland controls thyroid gland by this hormone. So it stimulates thyroid gland to secrete its hormone. Similarly, we have adrenocorticotropic hormone. It also stimulates adrenal cortex. Is a part of adrenal gland to secrete its hormone. Unless this hormone reaches the adrenal gland, this adrenal cortex cannot secrete its hormone. That means pituitary gland controls adrenal cortex through this hormone. The third is lactogenic hormone or prolactin. So here it is related to milk. So it promotes the growth of breast tissues and stimulates lactation in pregnant women. If this hormone is not produced, then the mother cannot produce milk. Growth hormone, or it is also called somatotropin hormone. So its function is, of course, to stimulate growth and division of our body cells. If this hormone is produced more, or hyposecretion, hypo means less secretion. If this hormone is produced less in our body, then it can result dwarfism. You can see this is a Nepali guy. His name is Mr. Khagendra, I guess. He is the tallest person of the world, and this Nepali guy is the shortest man of the world. So this dwarfism is caused due to hyposecretion, and another disease also causes Simon's disease. So Simon means this here. What will happen? The body tissue start degenerating. So this person will lose the weight. That disease is called Simon's disease. Similarly, if more secretion occurs, which is called hypersecretion, it can result gigantism. So means the person will become excessive tall, and acromegaly. Acromegaly means the person's the lower jaw, it starts growing abnormally. So that is why, and similarly the muscles of face also grows abnormally. That's why his face will start looking ugly, and such disease is called acromegaly. Gonadotropic hormone, so it is related with gonad. So it also stimulates gonads, means sex gland of our body. So there are 2 types of gonadotropic hormone: follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. So follicle stimulating hormone, it stimulates, if it is female, then it helps to develop and maturation of ovarian follicle. The follicle means, ovarian follicle means the part of ovaries which will produce eggs, and in male it is responsible for the growth and development of seminiferous tubules, the place where sperms are developed and helps to maintain the spermatogenesis. Whereas luteinizing hormone, it stimulates ovulation, means release of eggs from the ovaries and also from the corpus luteum in female body, which helps to produce female hormone called progesterone and estrogen. And in male, this hormone activates cells of Leydig that is present in the seminiferous tubule, and it helps to secrete male hormone called testosterone. So what is the conclusion? Unless these hormones reach gonads, there will be no maturation of ovarian follicle. So means ovary cannot produce any eggs. Similarly, in male, it cannot. I mean to say, the seminiferous will not develop properly, and if the seminiferous tubule does not develop properly, the spermatogenesis will not take place. Similarly, if LH hormone does not reach gonads, then there will be no formation of corpus luteum, so means the female will not be able to produce female hormone, and similarly the male cannot produce male hormone. So that's why these hormones are very much important to reach gonads. Now let's go to the hormone secreted by intermediate lobe, that is melanocyte stimulating hormone. So melanocyte means it is somehow related to pigmentation of the skin. So it is responsible for the growth and development of melanocytes, so cell which is responsible to produce a pigment and it gives the skin its color. So this melanocyte or this hormone, it works with the let's say sunlight. So if there is more exposure of sunlight, then this hormone produces more, so your skin becomes dark. And if you are exposed to less sunlight, then this hormone produces less, so your skin becomes fair in color. Now let's go to the hormone secreted by neurohypophysis, means posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. It secretes two hormones, and they are oxytocin and vasopressin, or it is also called antidiuretic hormone. In short, it is called ADH hormone. So let's discuss one by one. Oxytocin, or it is also called pituitary. So it is related with contraction of uterine muscles during childbirth in pregnant woman. So when the woman is going to deliver a baby, that time the muscles of uterus, it will contract, helping to push the baby outside. That's why it is also called birth hormone. And not only that, it also helps to stimulate ejection of milk by mammary glands after the child birth in female body. If this hormone is not produced, then the milk that is produced within the mammary glands cannot be released outside. And similarly in male, it helps in sperm transport and ejection as well. And it prevents. Now let's go to second hormone. The second hormone is called vasopressin. So vasopressin, it is also called antidiuretic hormone because why it is called antidiuretic hormone? Because it prevents loss of water from kidney in the form of urine. How? By increasing water absorption by distal convoluted tubule and collecting duct of nephron. If you remember, then the tubule of nephron has got three regions: uh, initial and post and distal convoluted tubule. So this part of the nephron will absorb large amount of water so that there will be no more loss of water. So this property is called antidiuretic. That's why this hormone is also called antidiuretic hormone. And it also helps to raise blood pressure by the contraction of blood vessels, which is necessary during the emergency. And its hyposecretion, less secretion, it can cause more excretion of water, and such disease is called diabetes insipidus. Similarly, if this hormone is produced less, then the less water will be excreted, and such disease is called antidiuresis. Now let's go to the second gland called thyroid gland. So its location is, it is situated on either side of the upper part of trachea. This tube is called trachea, just below the larynx. This is called larynx, and it is being connected with narrow isthmus. So it has two lobes, so it is connected by the tissue called isthmus. Structure, if we go to structure, then it is the largest endocrine gland with right and left lobes, you can see, which are connected by the narrow isthmus, and it is composed of two types of cells: the follicular cells which are found around the tube, and parafollicular cells, it is found between the follicular cells. And follicular cells, they secrete two hormones called triiodothyronine and thyroxine hormone, and parafollicular cells, which lie between follicular cells, it secretes hormone called calcitonin. Now let's discuss about the hormone secreted by follicular cells of thyroid gland. So they are triiodothyronine hormone or thyroxine hormone, and these hormones are made up of iodine. So that is why if there is deficiency of intake of iodine in the food, then it can lead the enlargement of this gland, and this disease is called simple goitry. It is not harmful, but it can swell, and it can uh, just visible from the outside in the bigger form. Function, if we talk about function of these glands, I mean this hormone, its function is to control or regulate basic metabolism of our body. I mean digestion, respiration, excretion, these all are called metabolism. So it helps to control those all the basic metabolism that is taking place in our body. And not only that, it also helps in metamorphosis in amphibian tadpole. That means if there is no these hormones, then tadpoles cannot be converted into adult form. So if this hormone is produced less, then it will retard the physical and mental growth of the person, and that disease is called cretinism in children and myxedema in adult. But if this hormone is produced more, then the person's metabolism will be high, and he is excessively active. His blood pressure is high. He he does not sleep, and such disease is called exophthalmic goitry. Second hormone secreted by thyroid gland is calcitonin, and this hormone is secreted by thyroid gland when there is a high calcium level in the blood, and it maintains calcium level in the blood by depositing extra calcium into bone. Now let's go to parathyroid gland. These glands, there are four in number, two on each side of the thyroid gland. Structure wise, if you go and check, then they are very small rounded bodies, and they are composed of two types of cells. One is small cells known as chief cells, and the larger cells called ogival cells. Chief cells, they are non-granulous and large in number, and they are smaller in size, whereas you can see ogival cells, they are larger in size, granular, and less in number. And between these two cells, chief cells, they have endocrine in nature. That means chief cells produces hormone but not auxiliary cells. So chief cells produces a hormone known as parathyroid, and its function is to regulate the metabolism of calcium and phosphorus between blood and other tissues. And this hormone is secreted when calcium level is low in the blood, just opposite to hormone calcitonin. Calcitonin hormone was produced when calcium level was high in the blood, but parathyroid hormone, it is secreted when calcium level is low in the blood. So since calcium level is low here, so it will maintain that calcium level by bringing that extra calcium from the gut and removal of calcium from the bone, as bone is the storehouse of calcium. So extra calcium, this hormone will pull from the gut or from the bone. So if this hormone is produces less, then it can cause twitching of muscles or and causes spasm of the body, and such disease is called tetany. And if this hormone is produced more, then it can cause more calcium level in the blood, and that can cause kidney stone formation. And similarly, since it brings more calcium from the bone, so bone gets soft, and the deformities may occur, and due to softening of the bone can get fractured very easily. Such disease is called osteoporosis. Now let's go to pancreas. In terms of gland, it is the second largest gland of the body. The first largest gland of the body is liver, and it is located in the curvature of, you can see, duodenum. It is located in the curvature of duodenum, and structure wise it is elongated, and yellowish in gland, and it is heterocrine gland. It means to say that it can act as both exocrine gland and endocrine gland. That's why it has two different parts. Exocrine part is represented by acini. These are acini, and these acini secrete pancreatic juice, which help in digestion of the food. Whereas endocrine gland, endocrine part is represented by these cells called isolate of Langerhans, and it consists of four different type of cells. They are alpha cell, beta cells, delta cells, and F cells. Alpha cells, it occupies 20% of total cells present in islet of Langerhans, and it is located near peripheral part of the islets, and it produces a hormone called glucagon. Similarly, the beta cells, it is found in maximum number, 60 to 70%, and it is located towards the center part of the islet, and it produces hormone called insulin. Delta cells, it is about 2 to 8% of the islet cells, and it is uniformly distributed throughout the islets, and it produces a hormone called somatostatin. And finally, the last cell called F cells, and it secretes a hormone called pancreatic polypeptide. So let us discuss the function of each hormone. The first hormone that we will discuss here is glucagon. So here two hormones, glucagon and insulin, they are antagonistic in nature. They just do opposite function. Like here you can see, glucagon is converting glycogen stored in liver into glucose, whereas insulin converts glucose into glycogen. So function is just opposite. So this glucagon is secreted when there is less glucose in the blood, like in fasting, or when food is not taken for long duration. So there will be less glucose in the blood, and that time this hormone is produced, and this hormone will convert the glycogen that is stored in liver and convert into glucose, maintains glucose level in the blood. Insulin, it is secreted when glucose level is high in the blood during the like example is after meal. After meal there will be high glucose level, and during that this insulin is secreted, and it maintains that high glucose level by converting extra glucose into glycogen, which will be stored in the liver. So if this hormone is produced less, then the conversion process will be slowed down, due to which there will be more glucose level in the blood, and that result diabetes mellitus. Similarly, if this hormone is produced more, then more glucose will convert into glycogen, due to which there will be low glucose level in the blood, and because of that there will be weakness, sweating, and the person may get unconsciousness. Somatostatin, this hormone, it stops or inhibits the secretion of both hormone, insulin and glucagon. Depending upon the situation, sometimes when insulin or glucagon hormones are produced more, then this somatostatin hormone will stop to produce secretion of both insulin and glucagon. And the last hormone produced by pancreas is pancreatic polypeptide, and it is related with secretion of pancreatic juice. So if there is more pancreatic juice is produced, then this hormone will stop to secrete the pancreatic juice. So with this, thank you so much. We'll do more discussion in session 2 of this chapter. Thank you so much.